I am a teenager recently hospitalized for a vaping-related illness. Ask me anything. Hi all, I just wanted to coincide with you all on some of the dangers of using black-marketed THC oils. It's truly risky using products that you don't know where they came from. 2 months ago on August 29th, I had been out with some friends and we ended up smoking a THC cart that night to ease ourselves up. Teenagers being teenagers. I had made the mistake of buying my product from someone who I never had before. Fortunately, I was the only one who smoked that night and it ended in an unfortunate tragedy with me starting to flare up and getting sick for the week to continue. I started coughing relentlessly and over the period of time, I became short of breath consistently. In addition to my symptoms, I eventually had been sent home from my job for horrendously coughing and vomiting 3 separate nights, September 3rd to 6th, where I had no idea what was wrong. As it continued, I had actually ended up passing out in my car on September 6th from such exhaustion for around 3 hours. That night, I checked myself into the hospital around 2 a.m. and originally was thought to have the pneumonia, but had tested negative. Over the time of my admittance. That night, my respiratory system had failed and I had stopped breathing while suffering from hypoxia and having a blood oxygen level of only around 40%. I was lucky enough to get there in time, otherwise I would have stopped breathing altogether. I had been thoroughly honest with my admitting nurse that I had used a new oil that I've never used before and it led to the conclusion that this was the cause. Over a course of 2 weeks, I was in the hospital room being on a ventilator with a constant oxygen mask until my lungs could eventually build enough strength to breathe on their own. On top of this, consistently receiving saline to hydrate my body and not being able to eat a meal for almost 2 weeks. I now only have 60% of my lung capacity and have to seek a respiratory doctor bi-monthly. All of this at the age of 17 due to my own negligence. To learn anything, if you purchase any THC carts, make sure they are from a reputable source or wait until they are ever approved by the FDA. Better yet, avoid them altogether. Thanks. Ask me anything.
Before we start, be sure to like and subscribe to be the first to know about new videos. Comment your answer below.
Are they vaping THC or the nicotine ones like Juul? My impression was that nicotine vaping was a lot more common, especially with teens, but I could be wrong. Also, how do teenagers get vape stuff if they're underage? I just get my 18+ friends to go to the vape shop for me. It's not like it's difficult. Most of us know to just stick to what is available in usual retail, and not on a dodgy street corner. Okay, that makes sense. Basically the same as how teens got cigs when I was that age. I was just curious how it works now. Not sure how easy it is to buy online and lie about your age or get a vape at a gas station without being carded or whatnot. Thanks for the insight. I mean, I live in Norway, where Juuls are banned, but normal vape mods are not, so I don't know how it is in America, where most of these issues happens. I bought my mod at 16 online, from a Norwegian store, no issue, but they later made it so you have to register your age to the website to buy, so that's not possible for underage kids anymore. Only vape shops are allowed to sell vapes and vape juices. Technically you're not allowed to sell nicotine, so they just mix it in your juice as a gift. I love that part, because they can't tax it if it's a gift. All other nicotine/tobacco products are taxed to the moon. IM0NTH of vigorous vaping will cost you about $15, contrary to $15 for 1 pack of cigs. Ah, gotcha. It's such a new thing that regulations are different everywhere and of course lots of loopholes like that. In my honest opinion, there has not been enough scientific evidence to support that nicotine-related vaporizers cause significant damage to a person's health. Although, more CDC and FDA research should be done of these ideas. Although, no tobacco/nicotine is the best option. These inventions were made for adult smokers who wish to make a change from smoking cigarettes to having a safer alternative in products such as Juul, Enjoy, Alto, Views, etc. It is a new market and my generation are the guinea pigs of it. With those my age, however, began the rise of THC oils that have been most definitely been confused with nicotine vapes. In regards to your question on how kids are getting these Juuls, it's most likely either seniors in high school or relatives they know over the age of 18 who can purchase them. Peer pressure is a major influence on teenagers and it pushes to the addiction of the abuse of these products unfortunately. Agreed. Best to have nothing but fresh air in our delicate lungs. But if you're gonna smoke cigarettes, black market THC, or nicotine vape, I'd choose Nic Vape from a reputable vendor. Even though the scientific jury is still out about Nic Vape, It's pretty definitive that cigarettes and black market THC can be very deadly. Ironic that out of those three, the safest one is the one people are most focused on attacking. I think it's important to know the difference if we care about preventing more cases like yours. I can't tell you how many conversations I've overheard of parents saying that all these cases of respiratory failure were caused by Juul. I'd like to find some way of decreasing the amount of kids taking up the habit. But I'm just not sure that outlawing nic vaping is the answer when anyone can go to more shady black market vapes or cigarettes to satisfy their addiction. And if nic vaping helps people quit smoking, I think that's a positive thing. I don't know, it's a complicated subject. I'm really GL. Banning Juul and other closed pod systems would pretty much do it. Teen vaping was on the decline before Juul hit the market. I was watching the former head of the FDA on TV a couple weeks back and he openly said they know kids aren't using refillable mod type systems, and they know vape-specific stores did a great job of age verification. It was when the closed pod systems like Juul became available in gas stations and convenience stores that teen vaping skyrocketed. Most people who've been vaping since before 2016 would fully agree that Juul came in and changed the game, and ruined it for the rest of us, by appealing to a younger demographic with super high nicotine level pods. That's an interesting take. I hadn't thought of it that way before since I don't have my finger on the pulse of this whole teen trend, but it makes sense. I used a refillable vape to quit smoking. Tried and failed for years and vaping was what finally helped me quit for good. I was never tempted by the closed pod systems. I heard that Juul was way more powerful than what I'm used to, and I don't want to pay for all those pods. If getting rid of closed pod systems was the key thing to get many kids to stop, I'd be for it. Then 40-year-olds like me who need help to stop smoking can keep using the less convenient, less available refillable systems. I'm right there with you, been vaping for 8 or 9 years after smoking over a pack a day for 10, and the stuff in Juul pods kicks my ass. The other thing is that, if you notice, none of the closed pod systems offer a cessation path beyond use it less. With refillable systems you can step your way down to zero nicotine and quit. I don't even vape nicotine most of the time, I just kinda like the flavor and ritual of it all and use a zero nic juice. That was originally the whole point. With Juul etc., you can't. This kind of debunks the argument that Juul is supposed to be used to quit nicotine, because ain't no one quitting 35 mg to 59 mg nic salts without a struggle. Good point about being able to dial down to zero nic juice, and congrats on quitting cigs and getting that nic down. Sorry to hear of your story, will your lungs heal back to 100%? I appreciate your words. Unfortunately, the chances are slim, but I'm on 3 different inhalers to help aid my process in the future. We'll have to go through mountains of respiratory therapy, but making sure to always stay active. Thanks. Man, I'm having a hard time believing the story you're telling judging from your post history. This is a real problem and people are dying from it. Maybe post a little proof of some kind, any kind. Otherwise, what are you playing at here? I work in a dispensary and have a lot of knowledge on this subject. This is a real thing. Black market products are everywhere. My boss suffered from almost the same thing over a year ago before regulation was changed on how the flower and oil plus manufacturing were tested and manufactured. People are even starting to fuck with edibles. It sucks. Hope this was helpful. If not, Google? Also check with your friendly stoner bud tender to see if your products are clean/green certified. If it's not, don't buy it. Welcome. I'm not playing at this subject in any way and I understand that you're skeptic. I was actually submitted to the hospital and I will look to see if I have any loose medical release forms from my visit and update with them. Thanks for your feedback. Don't show the loose forms. That might have personal information on it. I understand that. If I do release any information, it will be pretty heavily censored. Did the cartridge look like it was a brand and legit? Where are you from, and are there others in your area who are afflicted with this? Most carts and packaging can easily be purchased online and filled with whatever. The incentive comes from the fact that you can cut the THC extract with different things so you have more extract and can thus fill and sell more carts. It was a top cart and looked legitimate. It was claiming to be a 98.5% pure THC and I didn't ever second think it. To my knowledge, not many others had been affected with what I had. Just for personal reasons, I don't like to share my exact location, but I am from Pennsylvania. Did anyone else get sick from the same batch? I used THC vapes regularly for quite a while, always purchased legally from stores in WA, and there were a few brands that also made me short of breath and feeling like crap. I never had the same issues with flour. I stopped using them altogether last year. Hope you get well soon. We need to end the black market for cannabis products before more people die. The solution is simple: stop prohibition at the federal level. They are dangerous to so many teenagers who get a hold of them. Many are actually coming from Chinese manufacturers and shipped into the United States with whatever the hell they will put in it. Kids buy it. They think it's authentic. That's what happened in my case. I bought a top card brand from someone I knew and it was a fluke. Whatever was in it was detrimental to my health and had corroded my lungs. I'm just glad you're okay. If you keep vaping, please move to a state where it's regulated. Thank you. I don't have an urge of wanting to use carts anymore. It's more of the fact of fear for me now and to also be in what's best for my health.
You have been visited by Sad Cat. Like this video and subscribe to the channel to make Sad Cat happy again.